Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with another episode of the Strafing Run. And today's background footage, World of Warships followed by the Battlefield 1 beta. Got some leftovers for you. But today's topic, mostly a state of the channel. What's going on with me, YouTube and Twitch, all of the above. Why there hasn't been a lot of YouTube content, why there's been more streaming. I'm sure most of you are curious about that primarily. It will get personal here, mostly because I think it's the best way to answer that question. I have brought this up on a live stream before, but I'll do it here as well. Pretty much, my father, 77 years old, has a few different types of cancer and recently broke his hip on top of all that. That primarily due to stubbornness. He's now in a rehab facility, and neither of my parents ever learned how to drive, so a lot falls to me in terms of transportation. In fact, even earlier in the year, I was taking him to his treatments, chemo and radiation, things like that, which is why there was a content fall off even before now. When I was doing the Uncharted 4 playthrough, it was kind of in between a lot of that. It was like, drop him off, he'd be there for a few hours doing the chemo, and I'd come to my home and record, play, and then, when those hours were up, I'd go get him and take them home, and so on and so forth. And I think it was part of the reason I really enjoyed doing the playthroughs of Uncharted and The Last of Us was because they were, fairly fun and casual to do and kind of low stress. But they did eat up a lot of, render time. And I guess that was fine then because I could, go pick them up and take care of other things while the, the gameplay footage was rendering. Now though, it's more so that he's in this rehab facility, and I have to do visitations, take my mother to visit him, and things of that nature. And you never know what's going to happen. So I think with streaming, it's just easier. Low stress, casual. I can go live and not have to worry about editing anything or uploading anything, doing any thumbnails or descriptions or any type of analytics and social media. I probably make YouTube content creation a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Some people can just pop out content like it's nothing. Me, I'll just take you through a quick day of YouTube video content creation. Get up, have your breakfast, whatever, decide what game you're going to play, sit down, usually spend a few hours trying to get a game or a match in some sort of multiplayer game that's worth sharing. If it's live commentary, hoping that the commentary was good, hoping that the match was good, either funny or educational or entertaining in some way, which can usually just end up eating too many hours of the day because I'm very, very picky about what I upload. Then bringing that into an editor, putting an intro, outro, music in the middle if there needs to be any, cleaning up any audio issues if there are any, which thankfully there usually isn't. Then rendering it, which usually takes up quite a few hours, then uploading it to YouTube, waiting for that to finish, then to process all the HD resolutions and frame rates, then getting a thumbnail, which I'm really picky about, going in game and capturing a nice screenshot for thumbnail, and then writing the description, coming up with a title, and then sharing it on Twitter and Facebook and everything, and that's that. And that process usually ends up taking up the better part of a day. And again, I probably spend too much time on certain things, and I guess that's where the standards come into play, but the results aren't always achieved, even though I spend that much time on the videos. And anyway, considering all that goes into creating a video, with everything that's going on in the real world, it's just not easy for me to do all that in the course of a day. And so instead I'm live streaming. which I've been fairly consistent with the streams. They're somewhere around 4 to 5 hours most every day. Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, really depending on what's going on. But I think the best thing about it is it's just super low stress. I really look forward to streaming because, you know, I can just get in there and play the game, which lately has been Warships, which I'm super addicted to at the moment. That might change in October when I have some more games to play. There's going to be Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2. But, you know, I'll still be playing Warships because, like I said, I'm addicted to it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I think I've found a new way to just thoroughly enjoy it. But anyway, streaming's just easier, and there's less stress involved. A lot of times with the YouTube channel, there's also the comment section, which, you know, the old Obi-Wan Kenobi quote, "You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy." You spend all that time, hours of your day making a video, you upload it, and then there's people there that are just pissy for whatever reason. You know, they're mad at you because you said something they don't agree with, or they don't like how you did something in a game. And, you know, just sometimes, even though I've been doing this for quite a few years now, just sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. And my live stream audience is generally far more pleasant, and it might be because it's live and I'm actually there. So if you're going to insult me, you're going to have to deal with me actually being there. Whereas on a YouTube comment, most people think that I'm not reading them, or it just seems like a wall. Like I can say this here because I can't see him or I can't hear him live. It's, you know, I feel safer insulting him like this, you know. And again, my comments aren't that bad compared to most YouTube channels, but sometimes it just takes one when you're not in the mood for it. And so streaming's just been better for me, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I look forward to it. I get up and I'm like, yes, I can't wait to stream today. It's gonna be fun. Our discussions are usually good. We talk about historical stuff, World War II topics, talk about ships and military technology, and games, game industry, development, food. You know, we just talk about whatever, but it's usually on topic, and I enjoy it. But I did think that I owed the YouTube channel an explanation, because I feel bad about the fact that there hasn't been a lot of content here. Especially my patrons, the people on Patreon that are basically donating money to me to help me stay in this business. You know, I don't want you guys to think that I'm abandoning you, especially after your contributions. I'm not. It's just that I think right now streaming is the way to go, and by you contributing, it's helping me to stream. Otherwise, it's like, all right, try to find another job in the midst of dealing with all this stuff that I got to deal with, you know. And so again, it's greatly appreciated. People that are subscribing to me on Twitch, the $4.99 monthly subscription, which I get some of, and people donating bits, cheering with the bits and things like that. People that don't use ad blocker, people that are watching the ads, people that are following me on Twitter and Facebook and just helping me out in that way, sharing the content. All that stuff's appreciated, and it's helping me out. But again, I wanted to keep you guys informed. I imagine people unsubscribe because, like, wow, this guy's not uploading anything, I'm going to unsubscribe. I don't blame you. You know, if you want to go, no hard feelings. It is what it is. It's just a video game channel. You know, it's a place for me to share my hobbies. And I know that I haven't been really sharing a whole lot lately. So yeah, I totally understand if you don't want to stick around. No hard feelings at all. Totally. So yeah, that's pretty much the situation currently. But I would be lying if I said I didn't really enjoy live streaming to the point where I've been considering doing that full time, and one day having an actual schedule when things maybe settle down a bit. You know, things on YouTube just aren't amazing. It seems like they're always going backwards with their policies. Apparently, World War II is becoming a touchy subject. You know, a very important part of our history that we should never forget is becoming a touchy subject on YouTube. Supposedly, I don't know. I haven't really gotten hit with too many strikes or notifications of things not being monetizable based on World War II content. Well, I did for one. It was Iron Front, but then I resubmitted it and it went through. So I don't know if their system is glitchy or whatever, but you know, I'm hearing other people getting screwed over for certain things. YouTube has never done anybody any favors. They take a large chunk of our paycheck and they don't really give much in terms of protection. My network that I'm with right now, you know, they're not exactly doing me any favors either. Just because I think that you have to bring in the numbers to really be somebody that gets attention. And so, you know, why should they waste time on me when the views aren't exactly stellar? So, you know, with Twitch, I'm not saying Twitch is perfect. I'm not saying, you know, the Amazon buyout did Twitch any favors. I just see a few more opportunities there. You've got the subscription system. You've got the bits, which may even be kind of their way of getting in on the donations. But, you know, there is that. You can communicate with the audience live. It's a little bit more pleasant and low stress for me. And I think if I can schedule it, I can kind of go back to treating it like a normal full-time job where you know, clock in, clock out. That's it. And then, you know, when you're done, and you go do whatever. And sometimes I even do bonus streams where I'm like, hey, I got some free time. I'll stream again. Who cares? Screw the schedule. But again, right now it's all about flexibility, and streaming allows that because I can just go live and bail if I need to. And most everybody seems to understand. And that's cool. I really do appreciate that. So YouTube channel, primarily strafing runs, I think, because this is easier content to provide. I can just sit back, relax, and talk to you guys. The footage is the only thing that ends up being a problem sometimes, because if I'm streaming, I can't always also capture something locally. I normally use NVIDIA Shadowplay to capture my footage, and sometimes when you use Shadowplay mixed with OBS, there's a conflict. I remember I tried to record Battlefield while I was streaming it, and the frame rate took a massive dive. Maybe there's a way around that. Ouch, that really hurt. But as of right now, it seems like the games that are easiest to record are ones that have replay files. World of Tanks, Warships have a replay system, saves a little file. You can load that file after you're done streaming and then record that. And I love that. I love replay systems. I always have. Even games that were out in the mid to late 90s, some of them had ways to capture replays. I think I even remember Quake having a Quake demo system where you could do that. And it just seems like games aren't doing that as much these days. Battlefield used to have it in Battlefield 2, and then they got rid of it after 2142, I think. Which is unfortunate, because it'd be nice to say, hey, there's that match that I had. I can, you know, watch it later, fast forward through it, maybe rewind, and capture it for the channel. In this situation, Warships allows for that, so I can bring you a match that was live streamed at some point. Although, funny enough, I don't think this one was actually live streamed with the Molotov, but anyways, you get my point. The Battlefield footage that you're about to see was recorded off stream, which was just one of those rare moments, I think, where I was with Bombadil playing the game. And so, you know, I'm trying to figure that out, because I really don't like publishing past broadcasts or highlights from Twitch to the YouTube channel, because it's of a lower quality. What you're getting here is something that's locally recorded. I play at 1440p. I record it at 1080p 60 because it's just easier to render and process that on YouTube. And most of you don't watch 1440p on YouTube anyway, just because of the bandwidth limitations. So here, though, you're getting 1080p higher bit rates. On Twitch, you're getting 720p at 3500 bit rate. And that mostly comes down to streaming something that more people can watch, because if I do higher resolutions or bit rates, some of you might not be able to watch at source settings. It makes it easier for people that are watching on mobile, so on and so forth. So anyways, I really don't like the idea of having low bitrate 720p footage on the YouTube channel. I kind of just want this to be the place for the high-end stuff. Downside, of course, to that is that it prevents me from sharing past broadcasts here, highlights here. But, you know, with that said, we can talk about the fact that, you know, the Twitch channel does have those past broadcasts. So if you want to see a past stream, yesterday's stream, for example, you can go there, go to the video section, and look up the stream. You'll see 4 or 5 hours of, you know, yesterday's stream. If you want to watch it, you can fast forward through it, whatever. All right. Beyond that, sometimes there's highlights. I may have an awesome match in Warships. I say, you know what? I'm going to highlight that. I go into the Twitch web editor, and I cut beginning to end and put that up there, and that's in the the little highlight section. There's a highlight tab. You can go in there and check that out. And sometimes there's some really good stream highlights. So, you know, if you're used to VODs, if you don't have time to watch the live streams, which I know a lot of you don't, you can still check out the past broadcasts. I know some of you will say, well, it's not the same. The commentary is not the same. It's different. You're talking to people in the chat, or the way you're talking is different. I know, but again, guys, you got to bear with me right now. Just things being the way they are, it's just easier to stream. I'm really enjoying streaming, and like I said, I'm considering streaming more based on, you know, YouTube's performance not being amazing. So, you know, I hope it's understood. And again, I'm not sure of anything. Anything could happen. Anything could change. You never know. It really depends. But right now, focus on Twitch. Strafing Runs on the YouTube channel. I mean, I was considering doing a Battlefield 1 single-player playthrough, maybe a Titanfall campaign playthrough. I imagine one day there's going to be a Last of Us 2. I still have the DLC for Last of Us that I haven't played. I think the playtime on that's about 2 hours and 30-ish minutes, according to the research I've done. I could almost do that in like a single video, but I don't know. I've been considering doing playthroughs on Twitch, but then it comes down to having poor quality highlights. I'd almost want single-player playthroughs to have the best quality ever. Like my Uncharted 4 and Last of Us playthroughs, 1080p, 60 FPS. They look pretty good, you know, as good as they can look on YouTube. I would almost hate to have those at 720p and low bit rates. On top of that, I don't know. I imagine many of you prefer the commentary when it's just me and there's no chat involved. Obviously, when you're streaming, part of the fun for me is engaging in discussion with the community via the chat system. And I think some of you enjoy the immersive commentary provided during a single-player playthrough when it's a local recording. So I don't know. I mean, because I've thought about, what if Last of Us 2 comes out? Should I live stream that? I've been thinking about playing through Uncharted 1 through 3 for those of you that never played those games. But, you know, do I make videos of that, or do I live stream it? I don't know. And part of me says, well, the amount of render time that would eat up means that I wouldn't be able to live stream because I only have the one render machine. So live streaming would probably be the better thing to do. But there's that part of me that just seeks quality. It's like, no, I want high bit rates, and I want the video to look really good. And I loved my Uncharted and Last of Us playthrough. I loved it. I miss playing those games, guys. The immersion that those games provided was very important to me this year. And not just because, I mean, there's, you know, the thing with my father, but there was another thing that happened this year that I'm not going to even get into. But those games, I mean, they were around when I needed them. And I loved bringing them to you. I loved sharing those moments with you. And I love the way the commentary turned out. And I don't know, it was like a movie for me, interacting with it, and you know, you guys were there, like joining me on this epic adventure. And you know, so I'm sure have a similar experience with streaming, and it would be fun to have you guys there live and helping me out with puzzles and things like that, because you guys know how terrible I am at Uncharted puzzles. So if I did, you know, a playthrough that, I was considering, you know, the 2 Tomb Raider titles. I've beaten the first one before, of the new reboots. I beat it. I played that on my own in private a few years ago. I haven't played 2 though. And so I was considering going back and doing 1 and then 2, and I was considering doing a playthrough of that for the YouTube channel, but then I said, well, you know, the Uncharted and Last of Us playthroughs aren't getting a lot of views, which means I'm losing money, and it's just like, even though I want to do it because it's fun, you got to do what's right for the business as well, because you got to survive. But then I'm like, the timing is wrong and this and that. And so I knew that if I went back to an older game like Tomb Raider, you know, it would do even worse than Uncharted 4, which was a new game. But I think for this channel, it was a new game, but it was a console game, and it was Uncharted. And I think most people here are probably here for games like World of Tanks or Warships, or I don't know. I actually don't know what anybody's here for anymore, because the channel has changed so much. I don't play the same game for very long, usually. And I feel bad about that, but that's just how I always was. I have 2 brothers. One of them was into video games. He doesn't really play much anymore, unfortunately, but even between he and I, like, I would always be the one trying to get him into new games, and he would always just play the same 2 games. He would play like Quake 2 and Company of Heroes 1, and he wouldn't deviate from those games ever. I would even buy him new games for like Christmas or his birthday or whatever, and he'd be like, oh, thanks, man, and then he would just never play them. Like, oh, you gotta check this game out. Even my friends would get sick of me playing all these new games. I'm like, well, what about this one that you recommended a year ago? Why, you know, now you're playing this. And so I think my channels ended up the same way. At one moment I'm playing this, the next moment I'm playing this, and I can't make up my mind because I get tired of games. I know, first world problem there, but it is what it is. And I think that's part of the problem with this YouTube channel, is it can't be successful if you're not consistent with your games. And most people subscribe to a channel for one game, unless it's a, I don't know, some sort of variety channel that covers like industry stuff, maybe like a Total Biscuit or something, or an Angry Joe. But it is what it is right now. You know, this is the situation that I think I'm in, which is I think where Patreon comes into play. You know, you guys that have been supporting me through that, allowing me to kind of do whatever, you that are here for me and not the game. And again, that's appreciated. There's a lot of support there. I'm not going to say it's enough to be able to survive, but it's kind of mixing the income from YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch at this point in time to try to keep things going. I'm still trying to do a little bit more, which is why I'm wondering if Twitch scheduling is a good idea. I mean, World of Warships is not the most popular game on the planet. Even the top Warship streamers aren't really bringing in tons of views. So I think that just has to do with the lack of popularity on Twitch for Warships. So it's still me just playing games that I enjoy. I don't play things because they're AAA or anything. I just play what I like. And right now, that's a lot of Warships. One other thing I will discuss before we kind of get close to wrapping things up, I did get an emote finally done for Twitch. I can do a total of 6 at the moment, 5 more to go. I did pay Von Kickass to create one. It's Nicolas Cage from the movie Firebirds. Look up the scene called I Am the Greatest, or just look up Nicolas Cage I Am the Greatest, and you'll know what it's from. But with that said, that's kind of one of the things that the Patreon helped out with, because let's just say that emotes, hand-painted emotes, are a little bit more expensive than I thought they'd be. You know, to pay Vaughn, it's costly, and to do more, it will definitely dig into that Patreon fund. So I really do appreciate that kind of help, because I'd like to do more emotes. I'd like to rebrand the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel. I'd love to one day do t-shirts and stuff like that. But at this point in time, I gotta definitely watch the budget, make sure that I can pay my bills and take care of things in the real world. But with that said, ladies and gents, I think we're about done here. Hopefully you've appreciated this status update. Not necessarily the easiest thing for me to create, which is why it's taken a while to produce. But you know, with all that said, do me a big favor, check all the links in the description below. Patreon, Twitter, the Twitch channel. Check out those VODs, the highlights in the past broadcasts, if you'd like to see what I've been up to. And I think that's it. So thank you so very much for joining me. Always appreciated. And I will definitely see you on the next one.